Hey there, and welcome back to another Andy's podcast where we don't do boring. That's right. And we've got 6 fundamentals we usually talk about, which are time, money, balance, compromise, experience, but most of all, communication. I do this because this is my spot on the little blue and green dot. Yes, it's my little spot here. And I want to pass on my experience to you to just help you. I like helping people, so that's what I do this for. And it was recently, I had a very recent meeting which reminded me of something that I do constantly because I always meet new people. So every day I get to prove myself. So this podcast episode is called Proving Yourself. And it wasn't motivated by a sandcastle. I mean, the sandcastle lessons are what I do, and I prove myself to a new family every time I do one, don't I? You know, because I meet them, they don't know me. So I have to leave them with a good experience. I want to leave them with a good experience. And I want them to be happy and content. And also, I want them to have learned something and given them something they've never heard before, which is great. So that's, so proving myself, I went to a meeting and I didn't, it was a meeting just with a contractor at first. And to talk about landscaping and to talk about possibly carving something in wood. And that was great. And it was carving trees, they're palm trees, and that's fine. The palm trees are good, but it's 2D carving. It's just like relief carving, really. So I went to talk to the contractor about that. But it ended up being a much bigger meeting because I then got to meet the owners of this new venue and also the new general manager. And I've proved myself over the last 20 years to a lot of general managers and venue owners all around the world, but, mainly here. So it was an opportunity to do that again, but I've changed my stance. I tend to listen more now and then try and take in what they're saying and then offer some suggestions as to what I know actually already works, but give them the opportunity to have a different way to look at something. And also with landscaping, it's a big picture, and the public tend to want to come up and hug what I do. And so I was trying to inform the landscaper that if we put sculptures in a certain place, people would just tread all over his garden. And he looked at me and said, well, they won't do that. And I said, yes, they will. And because I've many times. Anyway, so that's so proving myself. I don't see it as an opportunity to prove myself again. I don't need to. My reputation precedes me, good or bad. And I see proving yourself every day as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to adapt, just like the Borg. Yes. An opportunity to impress. You never know who's watching when you're this proving yourself thing. It's you don't know who's watching, so it's an opportunity to impress, and obviously it's an opportunity in certain cases to progress, to make progress in your own careers, and to get better at something. So that's and all the things when you're learning, adapting, impressing, and progressing. That's all experience, isn't it? It's all valuable experience. So it's an opportunity. Proving yourself every day is an opportunity to change and grow, and when we share, we grow, it all links together. So the opportunity was to do one little thing. Then it grew into a much bigger opportunity, with a brand new venue, brand new management, brand new owners. And to meet the owners was great because the owners have a very different perspective. I mean, they're the money people. So, it's you're not dealing with it's a terrible thing to say, but it's not a terrible thing to say. You're not dealing with the monkeys, you're dealing with the organ grinders. So, these are the big people. So that was great. So it grew into a much bigger discussion, a much bigger sort of communication, but it was very frantic, very frenetic. They were on a very short timeline and everybody had a different idea about the same thing. And I got to talk to the owners and explain my thinking because of my experience. And one of the owners was listening very intently because she knew that I knew what I was doing. So there you go. So what happens you're in an organization and somebody comes in and you're already employed by the organization, but then there's new management, there's new owners, there's new everything, and there's a new remodeled venue, there's new everything. Where do you fit into that? Well, a new system is great because that means you can learn. and that's fantastic. So, but what happens if you're in a system like that and then you've done the same old thing? You know, you like doing the same thing because nobody wants to change, do they? Oh, no. I love 1987. Well, that's lovely. If you want to be a bubbleite, great. But that's very difficult at work, isn't it? Especially when everything around you changes. So the bubble suddenly goes, poof, no bubble. Ooh, what do I do? Well, it's an opportunity. So, but if the opportunity doesn't present itself immediately, in other words, you get introduced to a new way of doing things, you've got new people to meet, you've got new this, new that. One of the things you have to do is communicate what you actually need in order to do your job better. So if you think you need more training on a new program, if you think you need to know the specific hierarchy and what happens if, you need to ask the questions. And some people won't do that. They're too frightened of the bosses and they won't go anywhere near them. They have a system. There's in organizations, there's usually a lot more chiefs than there are Indians. Yes. So I don't tend to deal with the Indians, and I don't mean Indians, I mean workers, you know, the people in specific little spots. I tend to deal with the boss, and then the boss gives them the overview. I don't need to deal with everybody in 20 departments, so because it wastes my time. And I've never done that. I've always dealt with the big guys, and because they're the ones who commission my work. So, but if you aren't getting anywhere with the new system, you need to communicate that to the boss and say, look, I really need training on this, and I'd like to know how what I'm doing now, if I go this far, I could easily go this far, but then I have to do this. I have to move sideways all the time, and that's not efficient. Because if you're being more, and you say to them, I want to do more, I want to do more, I want to be more efficient, and I want to learn, any boss is going to listen to that sentence, because if you're learning more and you're doing more, you're making him more money, just by default. So business is business. So it's important that you communicate that in order that he knows that you want to, or she knows you want to learn, you want to progress, and you've got fixed targets, and things you want to achieve. So, you might have a 6-month target to do this and then move on. You might have a no target at all. You might think, I love my job, I love where I am. Great. And if you're content, fantastic. But you still have to learn. It's no good being content and just sticking it the same way you are, because you're going to stick out like a sore thumb in a new organization if you don't toe the line, for a better use of words. I don't like toe the line, but at the same time, it's being in your box, become a bubbleite. I don't do that. So, but you have to communicate that you want to learn, because that impresses any boss. And then, are you going to have to balance that? Yes, you're going to have to balance your expectation against the opportunity. And now that's a biggie. Balancing an expectation of yours against your expectations and the opportunity you may have. It's a shot in the dark. It's a leap of faith, but you have to have faith in yourself in order to make the opportunity work anyway. So that's why communication is very, very important when trying to gain experience and also move up. You want to get better. The other thing you have to do is to learn. You may have to make a compromise. You may have to work harder for no more pay in order to learn the ways that you can move up more quickly. And so, yes, I'm going to work more for less pay, or for no more pay, just to learn in the off chance that I get an opportunity. Well, there's no off chances, and there's no such thing as luck. Oh, I might be lucky. No, there's no such thing as opportunity like that. There's no such thing as luck either. If you work hard, get your head down, you're learning, your boss is going to see that. All right? And then boom. In my case, when you're self-employed, if you show up on time, you're reliable, you have a reputation which precedes you, that is reliable. People know that you're going to show up and do the work and be efficient and entertain people. Obviously I'm a public artist, so my business is entertaining people. So they know you're going to entertain people. So that's I prove myself every day, like I said. But to a new organization, they don't know me. It's like, yeah, okay, you've got reviews on TripAdvisor, or you've got reviews on Google, and everybody talks about you in the town. You mention your name and everybody knows you, which is what happens around in my area. But at the same time, they don't know you. So you you still have to prove yourself. So, but proving yourself should be a pleasure, really, because it's a chance for you to show off exactly what you can do. It's a chance for you to learn something new. You can adapt to a new way of working, which may help you in the future, because if you're moving upwards and onwards, you're going to may go to another organization which uses part of the same system you've just learned, which means you've already got the experience, which means you're going to be more efficient. So, and that's why presumably they're going to hire you and pay you more money. Hello. So that's the great thing about proving yourself. And at this meeting, I was impressed with the way they want to get things done, but I don't know, because I have no experience with these folks either. They've got to prove themselves to me. And that sounds very grandiose of me. Oh yes, Andy needs you to prove yourself. Thank you so much. Well, it's very easy. If you keep your word. If you talk succinctly, accurately, and you keep your word to me, and then you do what you say you're going to do, fine. Great. That's how people prove myself. Trust is not bought; it's earned. Some people seem to think that money talks. Yeah, it does, but not with trust. Because somebody has got money or there's a big company involved, that doesn't mean anything to me. It's so what, Oh, we work for this or we work for that, and I'm supposed to be impressed. Well, okay. Until I've seen what they do and how they treat me, well, I don't know. How do I know? So you have to temper your enthusiasm with a bit of care, but faith in yourself that you'll do the right things. So there you go. That's today's podcast. Proving yourself. Do it every day, because that's what you should do anyway. Have some fun, and remember, creation always begins with destruction. Obviously, yay! And we don't do boring. Right. I'll see you next time. Bye.